To GHOne television, and this is GH Today. It's time for the breakfast review segment. My guests are here in the studio and we'll get into the issues. There are quite a lot of things that we will talk about. New utility tariffs are coming in. They are going to take effect in a month from now, or should I say in about 28 days or so from now. On the 1st of July, it's going to take effect. And we're being told that unless something is done about the currency or the depreciating cedi, electricity tariffs are going to continue to go up. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, we'll resist any attempt to rig election 2024. Guess who's saying this? The flag bearer of the NDC and former president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, has been saying this. But are there any machinations or any attempts to rig the 2024 elections? And why is it that usually when it's getting to elections, you find one political party or another talking about attempts to rig the election, when the EC has always maintained that it is impossible with the systems that they have in place to rig an election? We'll talk about that here on the show today, among other things. So make sure that you stay tuned for the breakfast review. Here, the board chairman for the National Theatre. He is a member of the NPP, the New Patriotic Party.
Proud member. Thank you.
Of the NPP, the New Patriotic Party. The elephant is a winning symbol.
I forgot. And proud staunch.
Proud staunch. Thank you for the corrections this morning. Proud staunch member of the New Patriotic Party.
I'm thinking of one more word.
What other? What?
Committed.
Committed, proud, patriotic.
Staunch.
With the elephant as their symbol. They say the elephant is a winning symbol and they have all to save Ghana. Nana Fredia, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Same here.
Yes. Also in the studio is Wanda Victor Kuto. He is also a proud member of the National Democratic Congress.
Why are you applying my words to?
Okay, well, maybe I should ask him what words you would want me to use to describe. So, Wanda.
They are always copying us.
Comrade. What again? I know the NDC call themselves comrades. What else?
Always fine.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Of the National Democratic Congress, right? He's also a member of the National Executive Committee of the NDC. Thank you for joining us, Wanda. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you. And also here in the studio is Michael Sarfo-Kantanka. Michael Sarfo-Kantanka is a member of the National, should I say, the Movement for Change.
Yeah.
Now they have formed a coalition with the National Interest Movement and, other bodies as the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Same here, my brother.
And thank you for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you.
Nana Fredia, let me begin with you on this. I just want to ask you, what your thoughts are about what the Ochehene Osajefo Amwetio for Repaying has been saying recently. I think he has, he's called on people of Ochimang who are far and wide to come back home, They should come back home. Prominent natives of Ochimang should come back home and assist with the development of Ochimang.
Okay, so now you set me up to expose myself because I obviously this is my king.
Yes, your king.
And
that's why I wanted to put it to you first, because you are a native of Ochimang.
I don't know if it's called confess, but I must lay it out that I'm a courtier in his palace, so to speak. I'm his Asumkahine. In fact, this is my 25th anniversary as well.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm also the Chibi Chidompening. So I hold two stools. So he's my king, my king, my king.
Yes.
But the So the story is that in this is 25th anniversary, all kinds of celebrations are going on. It was kicked off with a Durbar in Kukrentumi. Kukrentumi is the headquarters of the Adontin of Achimabwakwa. So the celebration is going to go to all the 5 divisional quarters. I could give you a whole breakdown of how this is structured and therefore why there are 5 and so on and so forth. But that will be for another day when you're ready. But yes, so at this one, he made this declaration. It has been a clarion call of his from the beginning. 25 years ago, he's always encouraged people to go to their homes, not necessarily just Achims, but obviously because he's Ochin, so that will be the primary focus. But the idea is go home and help. Don't leave everything to Accra, to Kumasi, to Takrade, to Ho, to Tamale, the urban centers. Go home and help. When you've done well, bring some of that what you call wealth, whether it's knowledge, whether it's fiscal, like money, whatever it is, bring some home so that Ghana opens up, people get more benefits, you reach out to more young people and all of that. And that's been something he's been always talked about. And of course, it's a major highlight of his in this celebration. And so that's why. So while, yes, he might be talking to Achims, but it's not the first time he said it. And secondly, it's not only Achims. In Achimabwakwa itself, we have people from all walks of, I call us United Nations, because it's not just that there are other peoples in Achimabwakwa, they are actually now indigenes. So, for example, there's a small town called Govino Krum. Govino. I'm sure if you know your languages well, as soon as you hear it, you know where that's coming from. The heirs to the stool in Govino Krum come from Ho, and yet they swear allegiance to the Ochin. So it gives you a clear picture of what we're talking. There's another place where you go, I think it's Achime Kropon, when you go, and the heirs to that stool have come from Ko, I believe it's a Betifi or so, and yet they swear allegiance to the Ochin. So the point is, the collection of peoples across Ghana, we're all the same. We have eventually all become the same people. So that call, while it is directed at Chims, is actually for all of us to take some knowledge out of and go and help. We all get focused and build all the big houses and do all the big things, and then you leave your home people alone, especially those who grew up in their hometowns and then come into urban centers and they now pretend as if, as for them, they are from those places. For me, Lantam, you know I'm very pro-culture.
Yeah.
And it's a fundamental problem, if you ask me, about our development as a society. We have so grown into trying to be something we are not, and we've forgotten where we've come from. And it includes physically going home to your hometown. We're not from Accra. Those who are from, that's why for me, when the girls do something, I give them 100% support, because this is theirs. I'm from JP, I'm from Achimabwakwa. Go home. You are Kumasi boy, go home.
I'm actually from a small town in the northern region called Buya.
Go back and make it. If you believe that small is good, that's fine. But make it be such that you are always proud of it. We need to learn to do that, and it's a poor legacy we have had from the past that haven't helped us. Where we've built these images. For example, you'd send a student to a village national service and they do everything to move from mountains so that they don't go. Meanwhile, those who have been always come back with their best experiences because they get to see who we truly are. I believe that if you want to know who Ghanaians truly are, go to the villages. They keep their environments clean. They obey laws. It's amazing. It's not what we do in Accra and think we're up there. In fact, if you ask me in a very crude way, I'd say we've become very uncivilized. And if you want to learn how to be civil, then you go back to your hometowns.
Right.
So yes, that's my appreciation of what the GHOne has called for. Today, as we speak, they're preparing to plant trees. One of the things he's been known for is his environmental campaigns, and he's adding to, government launched a tree planting operation. Yeah, he's been a key part of it. Today, significantly, they're planting trees. Okay. If it went for Lantam, I'd be planting a tree by now. You see how powerful you are.
Well, you can still go and plant trees
in my house in Accra.
Yeah, after you leave here, plant a few.
But let me make this quick comment. So, just quick.
Yes.
I recently took a trip to South Africa, into Kenya. They have strict laws about vegetation in the middle of cities. You can't go to any house in Johannesburg or in Nairobi and not find trees. Phenomenal. And we, in Accra, where there's water in the ground and all of that, where we have to clear everything in order to put up cement trees.
It's a concrete jungle.
It's complete. And then when we're flooding, we blame one government, or whether it's NDC or NPP, we blame the government.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the issue is we ourselves. You need to bring in an architect to explain to us why they need to clear all of land before they put up a building, and why they have put in people's minds that if they don't have a cemented floor, their buildings are not complete. We need to figure that out. There's a whole story about this. I won't take more time, but I could tell you a serious story in Nairobi about Ghana. When recently the president had a high commission, Dr. Nkrumah had purchased land for Ghana, and from his time, nobody put up any building until President Kufuor did. And apparently, when they were doing the construction, they needed permission from the local government. Pay attention, local government. In other words, the AMA of Nairobi, and there the mayor is elected. Something Akufo-Addo tried to bring, nobody wanted to hear. So in order to keep his authority, he goes with what the people want. When they got the permit to clear the land, they got another call from the local government. Why? The neighborhood people had called for a meeting. When they went to the meeting, they had brought seedlings. You've cut down these trees, replace them. Local people. Meanwhile, if you know the issues about diplomacy, the territory where your embassy or high commission is your country.
Your country, yeah.
So imagine that. We're being told that we must plant trees.
So it highlights
and
the
it is
importance.
on our books in Ghana.
It highlights the importance of our environment and vegetation and all of that.
So we wish the GHOne luck.
Yeah.
And you're all invited to the rest of the program for the year. I'll keep you informed.
Very well.
When you're ready to come, let me know.
I mean,
there'll be
carry us along.
There'll be butterfly soup. There'll be umbrella soup.
And there'll be elephant soup.
No, we don't kill elephants.
But the butterfly
we need the elephants to run the country.
Elephant with a huge body.
Let's get into the rest of the issue, shall we? Thank you very much, Nana Fredia, for your
why? You don't want them to run comments on?
Because of time, I would have to move on. Since you are in the thick of affairs there, I thought it was appropriate for you to be the one to comment on it.
Thank you.
This morning. But let's get into the rest of the issues. I'll come to you on this. Utility tariffs are going up. So the PURC has announced an upward review of water and electricity tariffs for the third quarter of 2024. And the new tariffs, which take effect July 1, 2024, will push water up by 5.16% for all customer classes, while electricity will jump upwards by 3.45% for lifeline customers, which is those who consume 0 to 30 kilowatt hours, and then 5.84% increase for all other residential consumers who are not part of the lifeline category, which is 31 kilowatt hours and above. as well as the non-residential category. So the Commission has also approved an increase of 4.92% in electricity tariffs for the industrial category for the period under review. This is what the PRC has done. Wanda, the times that we are in obviously will make some of these things happen. And you know how the conversation has always been about paying realistic tariffs so that, you know, our utility companies can run effectively. Should we be too worried about this increment?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Nantan, the host, my brother from the Movement for Change, and then also to our senior Nana. This morning is giving a very comprehensive lecture on culture, which is very, very good. And I also want to wish the Achim Kingdom a very good anniversary. My regards to them. Now, on the issue of tariffs, you see, when tariffs go up, it affects not just the individuals but also the companies, corporate bodies. I will explain this in two folds. One, if you take individuals, it affects their purchasing power, because this increment comes at a time where, for most institutions, salary remains constant. So if I used to earn 3,000 and I used to spend 300 cedi on electricity and let's say 500 cedi on water, then I'll have a difference of, let's say, 2,200, because the water and electricity will have cost 800 cedi. Now, by July 1st, by virtue of the increment, I'll probably have to now spend, let's say, 700 cedi or even 600 cedi on water, and then spend, let's say, 400 cedi on electricity. Given that the salary is constant, it will affect my purchasing power. So that is how, so I just want to make it practical. That's how it affects individuals. Now, companies, it affects the contribution margin of companies. If you want to calculate a contribution margin, you normally will deduct variable costs from revenue. Now, electricity, utilities, and all of those are variable costs. So the more you produce, depending on what you produce and the attendant electricity that you probably will use, and then the water and all of that. So when you deduct all of this from your revenue, you get what we call the contribution margin. So now, if revenue is constant, and then by July 1st, as you rightly said, prices of water shoot up, prices of electricity shoot up, and revenue remains the same, the contribution margin will decrease. And we all know that in managerial accounting, most companies uses this information to advise themselves on one, recruitment, on salary increments, and even their corporate social responsibilities. For example, sponsoring events and all of that. All this contribution margin advises them whether or not to take a particular course of action. So if all of a sudden prices of water is going up, prices of electricity is going up, definitely it will have an impact on the economy. So aside politics, this is the impact we'll be having. Whether you are NDC, MPP, Movement for Change, we are all going to be affected by this increment. The only time you bring in politics is when you decide to look at the working document of the current government. Otherwise, there's no politics in this, because we will be affected. But if you look at the working document of any government, or if you want to look at the working document of any government, you look at the manifesto, on what basis were they voted into power. The MPP in this manifesto, or in this campaign, were so clear that when given the chance, they're going to move Ghana from taxation to production. It was a key campaign promise. They also say that by virtue of this mantra, it meant that taxes like tariffs, even if they will not be eliminated, at least they will not increase. That's the inferred meaning. So if all of a sudden, 8 years on, 7 years on, you see the number of times, the number of increment that has been done on water and electricity, then it tells you, that gives you a cause to worry that the government has not kept its promise to the people of Ghana. That is it. They said they were going to move us from taxation to production. So that is the only time politics comes in. What makes me a bit happy, or gives me in some sense of hope, is that in spite of the fact that there is increment, there are some categories of persons that will not be paying the same amount. If you look at the story very well, those who
Lifeline.
Exactly.
Lifeline consumers of electricity.
Exactly. So that's what
have about a 3% increment as compared to the 5%.
Exactly. So that's a bit thoughtful. That's some persons that are facing some difficulty will not pay as compared to others in the middle class and all of that. But be that it may, if you look at the current economic situation, it will appear that Ghanaians will be put in a very bad state, where for most people, salaries will be constant for most people. And if your salary or your source of income, for those who are not in the formal sector, they are doing their own job and stuff, their revenue is most likely going to be the same. Now, if your revenue is the same, if your salary is constant, and now from July 1, an extra burden has been placed on you, it's worrying. So we can only appeal to the government. There's an appeal. They have about 6 months. We have about 6 months to an election. We are appealing to them that, look, they gave us a promise. That, look, they will move Ghana from taxation to production, meaning that as much as possible, taxes will not be, Ghanaians will not be burdened with taxes. So it's just an appeal to them that, look, some of these increments should be taken a second look at, so that it will correspond. Already fuel prices. At the time the NDC were leaving government, fuel was about 14 cedi per gallon, but now it's about 64. You see, so if you now increase water, you increase electricity, it's extra burden. On Monday mornings, I don't like to do politics, but whether we like it or not, this electricity we will pay. we will all pay the same amount of electricity, water, and all of that. But our salaries are the same, unless those who are lucky. The last time Nana said he's not struggling. They have a lot of money, so maybe they will not be stressed, but they will still have to pay anyway. Thank you,
Michael. Let me come to you now on this this subject. And your thoughts? What are your thoughts, sir?
Thank you, my brother, and good morning to your viewers. This morning, the people of Koforidua are going to see the hope message reach them in a manner that has never happened before. And so from here, we'll join them and go and reignite the hope in the youth and in Ghanaians in general. My brother, times are hard. If you look at the justification the PRLC gives for the increment, I would, with your permission, want to read a line for your viewers. They said these reviews have been undertaken in line with the Commission's quarterly tariff review mechanism, which tracks and incorporates movements in key uncontrollable factors. What are the factors? They're saying, namely, the exchange rate between US dollar and Ghana cedi, domestic inflation rate, the electricity generation mix, and the cost of fuel. My brother has done a good job, talking about the impact, the effects, and who it affects. But I will want to look at how we got here. These increments in utilities have been occasioned by a very bad economy. Our economy has been run into a ditch, and that's why everything is going up. Cost of living, cost of production. These are the consequences of a mismanaged economy. And these are the realities the government and its actors would want to run away from. And so I'm happy finally the chicken has come home to roost. Now they can hide. At the Ghana Speaks debate recently, one point I made was, look, it's only a matter of time and these guys would have to increase the cost of utilities to be able to pay for the extra gas they need to power the plants. That was in response to the current doomsday we have. Our lights are going off. There's been no meaningful explanation, only a shift, a blame game between ECG, which is at the lowest of the value chain, and then Finance Ministry. But eventually the truth has come out that they couldn't afford the cost of gas to power the plants. And that's why we're seeing doomsday every now and then. And now they are asking to increase utilities so that, you know, they can afford the natural gas. Another issue that has brought us here is inflation, high inflation rate. How did we get here? We have an economy that is largely driven by importation. We import almost everything. Thankfully, we have Alan Martin who's saying, look, let's transform our economy. Let's bring that level of relief for our people. How do we do that? Let's embark on a rapid industrial revolution. The whole world changed because of 4 levels of industrialization. The first industrial revolution looked at steam power, the advent of steam power, where they came up with steam-regulated machines, boats, and engines. Now we had electricity come in the second industrial revolution, and then computers in the third. And now they are looking at the fourth, the cloud systems of things, the Internet of Things. I heard recently our vice president talking about how to harness the fourth industrial revolution, my brother, and I was taken aback. It's like, how did we get here? How are we able to dwell on so misplaced priorities so that we don't care about the rudimentary elements, the things that are so essential in our very livelihoods as a people? What are our peculiar needs now as a people? How do we get our people out of the current difficulty? Is it really in the prioritizing digitization and all that, which is a quota of efficiency, or it's in bringing the relief in their everyday lives? UN and United Nations Human Development Report talks about unemployment rate of 1.7 million for Ghanaians. Where are the factories to be able to create the jobs? How are we creating the enabling environment for private sector to open the jobs to be?
But the man who is the leader of the movement for change, was at the helm of that. What you're asking about?
Precisely.
Putting in place the flagship program, the one district, and he touts it as one of his major achievements.
And he did a good job.
And you are sitting here asking, where are the factories?
Yeah. I will ask that because...
So we should ask Alan Chamanting, where are the factories?
Well, he planted some, but you're just cutting in on what I'm saying.
No, but I need to ask, because you are representing the movement for change, the man who is at the helm, spearheaded one district, one factory, and he touts it as one of his achievements while he was in government. And so I find it, interesting that you sit here and you are still asking the question, where are the factories, when he was supposed to spearhead, the many factories that we're supposed to have in every district to, to create the jobs and, all of that. So I think it's fair that I ask.
Right. Alan did his best. He planted the factories we needed. Unfortunately, he's not the president. He doesn't wield executive power to even determine how much of allocation is channeled to these factories to operationalize them. He did his bit. I mean, look at the man.
But the factories not in operation because the factories are in operation.
If I may, please. He led the implementation of Intercontinental Free Trade Area that allows 54 countries in Africa to trade amongst themselves. The next was to build capacity of our local production so that we can produce here, add value, and even export to, with the after provisions, we can export to other African countries. Unfortunately, because of the lack of political will, of the executive power wielders, what happens? Go and see the allocations that went there. I mean, for a government that touted a shift from a taxation to production-led, you would expect they would prioritize some policies like one district, one factory that Alan was running, but 70 million Ghana cedi was spent every month on a policy like NAPCO, every single month. Go and check how much allocation went to these factories. So clearly you get to see the commitment of the executive power holders. Now Alan is saying, look guys, I've started it. He's been preaching this transformation agenda all along. He's saying, look, give me that executive power, and then I can get to run things the way it ought to be. Because look, we can't continue investing in non-productive sectors and expect things to work out. And that's why utilities will continue to go up, because it's like a downward spiral of events. Things will keep getting worse, and we keep doing the unproductive things to increase the burden of our people. But I'm so excited when I follow the Honorable Alan Kyerematen, because look, he doesn't only talk about the problems, he is a solution-oriented person. He is the one who is saying, look, give me the chance, and when I come with inflation, with the currency depreciation, he's already listed a number of policies to address them. I don't know if time will permit us.
Well, I have to come to Nana Fredia, so I want you to finish your submission.
All right, sure. So for currency depreciation, he's saying, look, let's embark on a rapid export regime so that we create that enabling environment, give local industries, MSMEs, all the support they need. Like he started with the business resource centers. He planted business resource centers across the country, saying, look, if you are a young entrepreneur, you need to start something. You just walk in the BRCs, and then you get all the support you need. This is the kind of person we're talking about, the man behind the industrial agenda of President Kufuor and even this current government, President Akufo-Addo.
Right. All right. Nana Fredia, let me bring you into the conversation now. Ghanaians are already struggling.
I don't know
this conversation under effects of the economy, the currency depreciation, and all of that. And utility tariffs are going to be increased again.
Is there anything in?
Surely we shouldn't be happy about that.
Is there anything in the statement of the executive secretary that calls for the campaign speeches that have just been made? It's amazing.
Do you need an answer?
Off-point issues. Off-point issues. I'm now confused whether to deal with the issue or to deal with them. But let me deal with the issue. Let me finish with the issue and spend some of the time questioning the things that have just been put out there. When I listen to what the executive secretary says, the one thing that he didn't refer to, which I thought has been a major problem for all of us, and which we tend not to talk a lot about, is the illegal connections in this country, and therefore the amount of energy not paid for and its effect on us. We need them to explain to us. I don't know if it is logical to apply the same concept of bulk makes cheap to power production. My point is, if we are 100 users and we're supposed to pay 2 cedis, but because only 60 are the ones we're able to find and make them pay, we're having to pay 7 cedis. Will that 40 people who, if they were found, if they were made to pay, would it now bring us back to the 2 or 3 cities that we should be paying? And therefore, is that a factor in their concerns, which they didn't tell us about? Because it's a real thing. There's a lot of electricity that is being sucked that's not paid for. In fact, in some areas, people know where it is and are afraid to go there and take the money. Because if they go there, they'll be beaten, probably to death, in this country. In fact, even in Accra, more so in Accra. So there are real things that we should be asking about. The other factors that he raised, people want to talk their politics, that's fine. The reality is that in all those other areas,
where the exchange rate and all of that.
Yes, so let's take the exchange rate. And let me put up my disclaimer. I'm not an expert in exchange rate management. But my street sense and my appreciation of it over the how many years that I've had to talk about it or be a part of it in one form or the other. One thing has come out most of the time, which is there's been when it is government regulated and when it is not regulated, when it was deregulated, so that now all the factors of markets affect the exchange rate. When we went into COVID, did not the rate not spiral upwards to 15 cedis?
And we are back there.
After the 15 cedis, what happened? It spiraled back down, came to as low as 8 cedis before it climbed up slowly to the point where...
I don't think it ever got to 8 cedis.
It did.
It came to around 11 cedis.
Check your...
Perhaps in about at Forex rates, it came up to about 11 cedis. 11 cedis.
Yes, if you are not sure,
before it started going up.
If you are not sure, don't interrupt. I'm sure. Check your history on this particular matter. And the fact that it went down and then climbed slowly up, for me the point I'm raising is, was that a government dictation? Did it have anything to do with government policy? It had everything to do with the rest of us and speculators, is the term that they use to people who throw out based on they raise some 1-2 factors, then they come up with something and then it affects all of us. So a speculator says the way we're hustling with COVID, then it means that it's good to invest in dollars. So I'm raking in all the dollars, and so dollars become expensive and you're paying 15 cedis for it. Then everything settles and then we realize that after all it wasn't going to happen, so it goes back down. What's causing our dollar to go up now? All those factors, and they're not necessarily against government policy. And if you want to spiral the argument into industrialization and blah blah blah, we'll deal with that. What are the other factors? The cost of producing electricity. That one, I don't know what it costs, but whatever it is, we need a breakdown of that so they make us understand. We cannot dictate what we don't have control over. In other words, if the real cost of electricity, salaries, blah, 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 the inputs, blah, 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 we can't control that. We can't do that, but at least let us understand. So I think that, one, it's good that they've told us what's going into this. But I think that we must be solution-oriented a bit. They shouldn't just be regulations body and just determining this and then sit back and let the chips fall where they may. For the kind of country that we are, we've accepted the nomenclature of developing country. I think that we must be able to use a certain depth of information to get the public to appreciate their role in why tariffs go up. So that this politicking that just happened and somehow trying to blame it on the government, when you know very well that there are a whole host of other things. Listen to Mr. NDC trying to say that the government should do something in the next 6 months. To do what? Subsidize the rate? Or what? I mean, let's be truthful and realistic. His argument about taxation and production, Mr. Butterfly also buys into it and then uses it to come up with all kinds of... You asked him the most relevant questions. Are you telling me that Mr. Chairman Ting, who, by the way, when he stepped out of the NPP, what was his reason? What was his reason?
No, I thought the NDC wasn't treating him fairly.
The MPP.
The MPP wasn't treating him fairly.
As far as
a lot
the
of things
election
were
was concerned.
skewed to favor one particular candidate.
So it was primarily because of elections.
Yes.
It wasn't because he wasn't being heard in government. You see, what people forget is that Mr. Tremantin was the first appointment of President Akufo-Addo. And in fact, he wasn't President Akufo-Addo at the time. He was Nana Akufo-Addo, the presidential
President-elect.
No. In October, we were I was regional...
That if he becomes president, he will appoint...
I was regional second vice chairman, Eastern Region. We went to Kojo upon Nkrumah's constituency. That is where Nana Akufo-Addo made the declaration, held his hand and said, this is going to be my trade minister. In October, no election had taken place. So you have all the time in the world to not make an economy bad. When he was in cabinet, my friend, when you were talking, we were sitting here.
You talk.
If you want to see my phone, here it is. I was writing all your points for you. So what's your problem now? Suddenly you are itching? The man was in government from beginning. He knew what the Kufuor NPP government had done. And he was now coming into a government that wasn't doing anything extremely different from Kufuor's government, because the trajectory of the NPP philosophy, which you obviously don't understand, was the same. You don't set up factories and then give them money. That's not the NPP. You don't understand the NPP. And you're not doing Mr. Tremantin any service when you talk like that. You don't... An NPP government, you and Swasika go and build factories. We're not a socialist.
Well, I mean, it was said that this was going to be done in collaboration with
facilitate. I was involved in the secretariat of the One District One Factory until it was before it moved from the presidency to the trade ministry.
Yeah,
well, to facilitate, not give money. So the
facilitation involves giving
no, it doesn't.
Because some stimulus packages and what have you was provided to some of the companies, from the B5s to the Casaprecos to the
Did
Darko
you listen
farms,
to what he said?
To the Darko farms.
Did you listen to what he said?
Under 1D1F, they were given money by government.
Did you listen?
The operations, right?
No, they were not given money by the government.
So what happened?
They were given money by Exim Bank.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone must guarantee.
So that's a facilitation, right, by government.
It is not the only thing. And you see, when you are fixated on the money issue alone, you get caught up in this and you're buying into it. The issue about facilitation includes making sure that if it's lands that you need, you are given easy access. If it's other things like utilities and all of that, they are made easy so that you don't go through the typical difficulties that people go through on the ground. So it's not just the money. And the money was not dished out of a budget from government. If there is a line in the line item in the budgets that stated clearly that this is going to be given to factories, in the manner that he's saying, please show me. I didn't read it. Maybe I missed the line. If I did, then I will submit myself. So the point is this. That was not the philosophy behind doing One District, One Factory. So that is how it goes. You facilitate. Facilitation means giving access. That's what the word means.
But essentially, the 1D1F was supposed to, transform our economy in a way.
Not overnight. But is it going to be
industrialized?
Is that going to be overnight?
But we seem not to be seeing the effects of that.
Do you honestly believe that is an overnight thing? Do you honestly believe that?
Well, but it's been almost how many years? Almost 8 years.
Have you followed any of the countries that have grown?
I've been told that there were over 100 factories that are in operation.
Have you followed the effects of Have you followed any of the countries that have built a trajectory of that kind? China, today they are a mega economy, not just in human capacity, but industrial.
Yes.
You think it took them 4 years or 8 years? Go and check Singapore. You think it took them 4 years or 8 years? Let's be truthful and realistic with ourselves. That is why we make the argument that if you want a consistent trajectory, you keep a certain party with their philosophy in office for a while. That all these countries, Japan, go and check out. Where was Japan before before and after immediately after the Second World War, and look at how long it took the government from 1961 or so to have one party push a particular agenda, and today look at Japan.
Right.
So let's be truthful and realistic with ourselves. Let's deal with the reality of our situation. This thing about tariffs, for me, it's disturbing because I have to pay. I have to pay from my house and I have to pay from my company. And therefore it affects everything else, including the fact that now I have to go and recalibrate my pricing of my products. Yeah, so now when you come, I increase it by 2 cedis.
So if I come to buy from you, I'll buy it to be more expensive.
And you in
Meanwhile, my purchasing power has not gone up.
Meanwhile, and you in your suit, your new suit, the tariff for you in particular, Lantam. If as for the NDC man, I'll give him ×4. I'll give you ×2. The butterfly man.
Don't give me some.
The butterfly man, I figure that he's a NPP man pretending, so I'll keep him at the low level. You want to go into this thing, your colors. Yes, bottom line,
yes.
Lantam, this is not good news for us. When I say us, I'm talking about Ghanaians. It's not good news for us. You just asked a very important question. How does that go with the fact that my pocket money too is not going up? It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
I think that my question I raised would be nice if we could get an answer to it, because Ghanaians need to see their role in some of these things.
Okay.
We need to, even with the exchange rate, we need to see our role in it and therefore begin to learn real lessons. And you can do your politics and all that, but the truth is that is beyond politics. It's a matter of culture.
All right. We'll need to move on to a few other issues. For example, the issue of the...
You want me to?
The issue of the...
You want me to respond?
No, we are, because of time. We have to move on. So, the issue of the 2024 elections and this rhetoric of always a plan or an attempt to rig. You know, political parties always think that there is an attempt or there is a plan to rig. To rig the elections, whether legitimate or otherwise. It's always there. The flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, is saying that his party and Ghanaians will resist any attempt to rig the 2024 elections. And according to him, the NDC is winning the election for Ghana and not the NDC. So, during the burial of the late Ambassador John Akolugutia in the Talensi area, you know, he made this particular statement that, let me quote him. He says, "We are determined to win this election, not for ourselves and not for the NDC, but we are winning this election for Ghana. This election is between Ghana and the MPP, not the NDC and the MPP, because we need to reset our nation." Michael, I'll begin with you on this one. I mean, what do you make of this? No, but I want to begin because the last one I started with. So let me begin with Michael. What do you make of this?
But we could have
this seeming
the government's
rhetoric
we could have started
an attempt to rig an election, an attempt to rig it. We always see this from where you sit. Do you see any machinations behind the scenes in an attempt to rig an election?
Governance structure.
Thank you. Within that statement, all right, is this strong resolve for change. And you cannot discuss change without also paying attention to the processes that would deliver the change. Yeah. And so I can understand President Mahama's fears when he's saying, he fears elections could be rigged and all that, because there's been the need for us to uphold our democratic credentials, okay, like never before. There's been the need, and it's coming out from it's coming out of over 32 years of two people in the helm of affairs, that's the duopoly, the MPP and NDC, who try to take absolute control of the processes that will deliver the change that's supposed to happen in a democratic dispensation. And so you have a government who comes into power by an EC system, but cannot even trust the EC to deliver, a free and fair election, because they see some form of influence peddling around the EC's execution of their mandate. But I believe essentially people are looking for change. President Mahama needs change. We need change. I think the only person in the room who doesn't need change may be Nana Fredia, because he sees everything working out well. And so if change is going to happen, then it's very crucial, it's essential, it's important that we are able to come up with a more transparent, set of processes and regulations that manages to do away with excessive human influence, and that is one major problem we face in this country, that systems are unable to work because there's so much discretionary power around some of these systems. Human influences must be limited to be able to allow that free and fair and transparent systems to work. And honestly, we at the movement, we just want to believe that the EC will do their job. They'll be able to resist all forms of oppressors' influences and deliver to Ghanaians on their mandate within that sanctity that allows them to operate. And so it's just a good call. Anyway, it's a very good call that President Mahama has made. Unfortunately, he is not able to deliver that change Ghanaians require, because he's had his chance. We've seen some of the electoral violences that characterize past elections under his presidency. Under President Akufo-Addo, we've seen some ayawaso. You see what happened at Techiman. These things, create this mistrust for the processes. And so if really Ghanaians are going to see the change materialize, the change we so yearn for, then it's very important that the EC takes on that responsibility in a manner that allows them to resist any form of influences from the government of the day, especially. And I believe they are able to do that. They feel our pain. They are going to pay some of the increased utilities. They are feeling the hardship. And so if you are in this situation and you wouldn't do your work right to allow the right candidate, which we hope to be Alan Tramartin, to win, then it's on to you. We are in this together, honestly. Ghana is all we have, and usually when I meet people, one thing I tell them is, look, let's be patriotic. Let's try and agree that things must work right for everybody. And unfortunately, the problem comes when we have to choose who to bail the cat. Their hands are soiled. President Mahama, Alhaji Bawumia, their hands are soiled. We need the safest pair of hands. We need the Honorable Alan Tramartin, a man with a proven track record of integrity, competence, vision, and action, to come and run things for us, to allow systems to work without influences of the people in temporary custodial power. And until we are able to do that, the struggle is on. We are going to fight, arise, the youth of Ghana. We are going to arise and continue to, herald that aspiration of a transformed Ghana, aspiration of a working economy, aspiration of a peaceful ecosystem for all Ghanaians to be able to do well and thrive under a working government. And that's what we hope to have under Alantra Martin's leadership. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Wanda, let me come back to you, Wanda. Let me come back to you, Wanda.
Because yes,
you're also dictating.
Yes.
No, don't worry, Wanda. Don't worry.
Particularly when we are not having rebattles.
Don't worry, you have a rebuttal. Don't worry, you have a rebuttal. But I want to come to you. Why does the NDC seem to think that there are attempts to rig this election?
Yeah.
And you constantly, at every given opportunity, talk about resisting attempts to rig an election. What is it that you are seeing?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, luckily, this is not the first time we're having an election in Ghana. We've had election when NPP were in opposition. We had all die be die and all manner of stuff. So I'm happy that this is not the first time that we are having an election, or we are going to have an election. Now, if you read the statement very well, the former president was clear. He said that we keep talking about peace, but there cannot be any peace if there's no justice. If you read the statement in full, if there's no fairness, if there's no justice, there cannot be peace. And it is tight knowledge that to have or to ensure peace and tranquility, there should be fairness, there should be justice. So the former president hasn't said something new. He's just calling for the right thing to be done. Particularly so when there's that kind of history behind the current government. 4 years ago, in 2020, 8 people died. As it stands now, we do not have we do not know the full circumstance surrounding their death. But they died as a result of electoral violence. That's a fact. Last week, Monday, around the same time, we discussed Hon Abilolo, who confessed, as far as I'm concerned, that he was asked to distribute, or
he detonated dynamite.
Yes.
And later on, we were told he said it was firecrackers.
Yes.
With the help of the president.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah.
Did he say with the help of the president? I don't remember Hobson saying with the help of the president.
He said he
but he was
told
a
the
member
president.
of the MPP at that time, and he detonated dynamite.
Yeah, he said
that's what we know he said.
You can send us to that. Lantam, he's saying this on your station. You can take us to the source of your comment.
No, it's online. The videos
I
are
think
there.
I've stated what Hobson said, that he detonated dynamite. He was a member of the MPP then. Yeah. And obviously that points to the fact that it was an attempt, I don't know, to help the MPP gain an advantage. But I don't remember him saying that with the help of the president. With the help of the president.
Yeah. Oh, he said they finished and came to tell the man.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And which article is this?
Oh, it's a video.
Yeah,
in
where
fact,
is the video?
It was at Accra FM.
Where is the video?
It's online. If you want me to find it, I can search for it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's fine.
it's not my
that's
job.
Fine. It's not.
You can
it's
find
not.
it.
I mean,
you have a phone.
It's common.
It's out there.
I think it's common knowledge what Hobson said. And those who have seen the video know exactly what.
So you can't tell me that this is where I should go and find out.
Yes.
The better the video to prove.
No, so wonder.
Yes. If you are not telling the truth, we'll sit here and listen to you.
Nana, please.
Oh, now I'm the victim. He's the one who's not telling us the truth.
Allow it. So,
Phantom, let's hear more going to say.
Yes, Wonder.
Yes. This morning we started the show with a lot of adjectives. He's a proud member of the MPP. He's a stout member. So Hobson at the time, as of 2016, I believe he was a leading member. I'm even tempted to say it at the time he was a proud member of the MPP. So if such persons now tells you that this was what he did at the time that he was a leading member, he was a proud member, he was a stout member of the MPP, this was what he did. From dynamite to what? Fire? Is it fire what?
Firecrackers.
Firecrackers.
Yes.
I hope you know what that is.
Now.
Knockouts.
Now.
How are you helping him?
There's a memo from the EC. I don't know whether you've seen that memo, where a deputy commissioner in charge of operations, deputy director in charge of operations, is talking about not having polling agents observing the transfer of votes. peaceful election did not come on the day of the election. Election is a process, right from registration to transfer and all of that. So if you have the EC saying that political parties should not observe a key process like the transfer of vote, when we know what gerrymandering can do, we know that transfer of vote can lead to gerrymandering. So if you have the EC saying that political parties should not observe such a process, MPP should not be there, NDC should not be there, they should not observe such a process, then it's worrying. Are we trying to take us back? Do you want to turn Ghana into Sudan? That now political parties can no longer observe the process. Yesterday we were in Ashama. The MP for Ashama said, look, on the first day of the transfer, only one person was allowed to transfer his vote to Ashama. Only one person on the first day. The second day it increased to about 16. Well, they have the database. Over 20,000 people are now resident in Ashama who do not vote in Ashama. So on the election day, they have to be buzzed to whether Achim or Sogakofe or Temali and all of that. But these people now live in Ashama want to vote in their residential area. But on the first day, only one person, the whole of Ashama, and if you know Ashama very well, the population, only one person, and people are boiling. So if the former president is talking about a peaceful election, he's talking about justice, he's talking about fairness. On what basis would the EC come and say that no political party, that the MPP should not observe the process, the NDC should not observe the process, the CPP should not observe the process? Why? What is it? And I'm happy that our party has taken a stand on it. The EC must reverse that decision. You see, it must give some sense of hope, transparency. At least let the political parties be there to see what's going on. No, this is a serious issue. How can you come and say that political parties, we don't know what else, then by December we'll be hearing that political parties should not have their agent at the polling station. Because from the way things have started, electoral violence, this is how it starts. When people start losing confidence in the process. Because if at least people witness, we all know that, oh, this was how the transfers were done. Going into December, there's no perception of bias. Now, let me use this opportunity to also call on the Peace Council. We must not just wait. When it's a week or two to election, then we'll now be calling flag bearers to sign peace pact and all of that. No. When issues like this start popping up, that is where we need the Peace Council to step in. To step in. Call the EC. What is the EC's concern? If in some areas there are disturbances as a result of the presence of political parties' agents, how do we correct that? But to say that because there was some disturbance in, let's say, Ibuakwa or let's say Tamale, you say that because of that, oh, now you are banning political parties, they shouldn't have an agent. That cannot be a proper or progressive solution. The EC may have some concern. I read the memo that probably because of some disturbances or some political agents, party agents having some disturbances. That is the basis upon which they are saying that they do not want to have political party agents. That is worrying. So the statement by the former president is clear.
All right.
He is saying that, look, we are committed to peace, and that is so. However, when we are calling for peace, we should also call for justice and fairness. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Nana Fredia, let me come to you on this matter.
As a matter of quick information, I never heard this point. Is that the case? Is that what happened? The EC said they won't allow parties.
Oh yeah, they say Momo. I can forward it to you now.
Lantama, it's Lantama.
Yes,
It's your biased statement.
Oh no, I have a memo.
You saw it?
Oh yeah.
And what was the statement exactly? I never saw it. That's why I'm
Well, it
asking.
was to the effect that, political parties.
Oh, we can read
or
it out for the
political
benefit of
party agents
Nana.
should not be at the polling centers during the registration.
Yeah.
And yet, the same political parties were able to determine the information that on the first day at the Shama, one person
They said effective.
was
They said effective 3rd June. Effective today. It's today.
Yeah, so what's our problem?
No, No, they say the directive starts from today.
So what's our problem?
So they should reverse it.
Is there a basis for it? Why can't you go to court?
Oh, no.
Go to court.
No, this is it.
You
Read
see?
it.
No, I don't want to read it. Go to court. No, I was Lantam. I was asking. Lantam says it is the case. There is no dispute. My next retort then was go to court.
You say for
So
Monday.
it means that I accept, and I'm saying go to court because I think that it's a fair argument to say why not. But don't sit back and try and raise public political thing. Oh, there's something untoward. There's a basis for it. If you sit here in one phase, talk about institutions should be stronger and blah, blah, and then another phase you want to weaken the very institutions. How does that work out? It doesn't sound right to me. Now, Mr. Mahama's comment is very interesting. His own party man in running the comment, and I quote him just now, just said, where's the statement? He says, the former president hasn't said something new. He raised that point as an introduction, that this thing keeps going back and forth. And then he's now confirmed that, yes, we do it. So the rest of us, as Ghanaians, should we not be tired?
I mean, it's something that political parties do. I mean, they run up to the 2016 election.
Justice and fairness.
You asked
the NPP
put the context. There should be justice and fairness.
You asked. Now you want to tell me what to say.
I said, you are quoting me, so give the context. You are quoting me.
Now you want to tell me what to say. When you quoted me using the words staunch and did I?
Oh, I give the context. I said.
Did I protest?
I give the context.
Did I protest? How can you compare my
gentlemen? Let's go back.
How can you compare my introduction to your comment?
I give the context.
Let's get back on track.
So I'm saying, in this context, Mr. Mahama hasn't behaved differently because the basis for his saying that is not established.
Oh, it's established.
It is. He doesn't say anything in this article.
Pull up those.
There is nothing in the article where he is quoted as giving a basis for that. He goes ahead to say, we will win the election. And guess what Mr. Butterfly said? Mr. Butterfly said, it's a good call that President Mahama has made. Meanwhile, you are sitting here trying to win the election, yet you say that his call is good. He called also that he will win the election.
No, but I was addressing a specific one.
You see, when people don't...
But the call, I'm not sure that the movement for change wants Mr. Mahama.
Exactly.
Then when they say he's made a good call, what's the basis? Because in that call, he's saying that he will win.
Oh, no.
But it wasn't in relation to that.
At all. I find it very interesting. I find it very interesting that all of you are very uncomfortable with my facts. It's just strange, isn't it? Why are you also uncomfortable with my facts?
We need to get the context.
You are determining the context for me. I'm the one who listened to them.
Yeah, but I
heard them, and I quoted them. I even went ahead to write their words down. They haven't refuted the words. And I'm saying, in the context of those things that they are saying, is also the words of Mr. Mahama, the basis for our discussion. Mr. Mahama's comments are the basis for our discussion.
Justice and fairness.
So, if I'm saying, I'm listening to them, I'm saying, what kind of twisted logic is this? And I'm raising it now. You don't want me to say it. You want me to say the way they said it. I'm not going to say that. I'm telling you the way I heard it. And here's the thing. Mr. Mahama himself gives us no justification for his comment that you make sure there's no rigging. How? And you asked a very interesting, or you posed a very interesting statement as part of your introduction, that in this day and age, technology is a major player. We have done everything under the sun, moved from when we started in 1992, when the NDC literally rigged the election. And it was documented, and they were the only ones in parliament as a result because of their actions. The fact that they stole the Ghanaians' right and their decision. We moved from that point where now we ask for.
We know that the MPP boycotted.
Yes, those are the facts. You boycotted the election.
But is it a statement of fact that it has been established and proven that the NDC at that time rigged that election?
It was established
by where? By who?
Lantam, is it that you guys don't keep things in context? There's a history.
I mean, we know that.
I'm saying that there's a history. We have graduated from 92.
Because they thought that the election was not free and fair, so they boycotted the election.
It's not that they thought. They listed the breakdown.
Yeah.
Nana Akufo-Addo was chairman of that committee when they published that book.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the NDC. So that is the NPP's perspective.
To this
the
date.
reason why I'm saying that is not fact because if you are saying that it is fact and that is what happened, it should be established and universally accepted by all with the evidence presented that this is what happened and everybody accepts that.
How do you do that?
But if it is one side which believed that the election was rigged, of course that side is entitled to the opinion and decided to boycott the election. But that's the distinction that I want us to make. Because there are those who also say that no, because the NPP felt that they were sore losers and they didn't want to, that's why they also decided to boycott. Somebody can also say that is fact.
Yes.
You should get where I'm coming from with this.
No, I don't.
You should get where I'm coming from.
I don't.
But anyway, carry on.
It's interesting that you've heard and listened to everybody and their twists on things, and you're interested in the depth of mine.
He's the host.
When I'm breaking down what happened, and I'm saying
from
that
the perspective of the NPP.
I don't see any other kind of party person in this chair other than me.
Yes.
So what is your problem? No, tell me. I'm NPP, and I'm telling you what I know, and I'm keeping this within the context of history. And you're saying that I should speak as CPP. I don't understand.
I didn't say you should speak.
So why is it that you're interfering with my comment? I'm saying that when that publication came out, the EC at the time didn't refute it. The NDC didn't refute it. The international community didn't refute it. It is on record to this date. Okay. If you refuse to accept these facts, that's your business, not mine. It is mine to put it out in the public so that people see the hypocrisy that we're experiencing in this country. The history has come from then to date, where we graduated from not even using transparent ballot boxes. It was fought for. Using biometric cards and all of that, all those things were fought for. So we've come to the point where there should be 99.9% clarity that whether it is the will of Nana Akufo-Addo, it is the will of Mr. Mahama, it's the will of Mr. Trematin, and who are the other new candidates out there? Oh, New Force. Cheddar. And who else? I see my brother.
There's another independent candidate.
There's my brother George Chumberman's picture is on your highway here, the Kanda Highway.
Yeah. I mean, there's Bernard Mona too. He wants to be flag bearer.
Of course, there's Bernard Mona.
Yes.
No, it is not in any of those bodies' powers. Did I add Dr. Baumia, who is a candidate?
Yes.
It is not in any of them their power to rig an election. So if Ghanaians want to buy this so-called rhetoric, and parties like Movement want to buy into this rhetoric, and what was the word he used? I've forgotten the word. To endorse Mr. Mahama's comment. He says he made a good thing. It is their business. But the reality on the ground is that there will be no rigging, not on the part of the EC. And notice I'm not speaking for NPP. I'm not, because this is not an NPP matter. It is an EC matter. And it is an attack, an intentional, consistent attack on the EC by the NDC, because they know that when it comes down to the real matters, even the butterflies have a better policy argument.
So how do we eschew this
even the butterfly who just started? So they have a better policy approach.
So now I don't want to
NDC has nothing.
Yeah, I don't want to ask you
how do we eschew? And so this is where they're caught.
This kind of commentary political parties, do.
Well, you can't.
Because in the run-up to the 2016 election, the MPP had the same, attacks on Charlotte Osei and warning about rigging the election, and there are
there were issues
and all of that.
There were issues.
There are no issues with this EC.
What is the issue?
There are issues that have been raised by the political parties.
Like what?
Like even churning out erroneous figures, at the registration with regard to the registration, among other things. There are plenty of issues that have been raised.
And those ones.
Missing DVDs, stolen DVDs,
the resolve of those.
So there are always issues.
And the new ones.
The resolve of those ones. Are they political or they are technically factual issues that we must be worried about?
And he's categorizing
factual issues.
The problems.
I said, are they political or there are technically factual issues we should be worried about. Because if it's political, that's the NDC's goal. And you are buying into it.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You just try to list it as part of the problems on the ground. I'm saying
you asked. These are legitimate issues that not only the NDC has raised. A typical example, that's the one I'll go to first of all, is the fact that the EC is churning out erroneous figures with regard to the number of people who have registered. That is an issue.
And those erroneous figures, on what level are they a problem? Now I said I'm speaking as an EC member, unofficial, nothing to do.
Are you a proud member as well?
You see, we're not truthful with ourselves. In as much as everything goes well, there's always going to be a problem somewhere. When the EC makes a mistake, notice I said when.
Yes.
When they make a mistake, is there a benefit of the doubt that they are a trustworthy organization and so can correct that mistake? If we're saying there is no benefit of doubt, then there's a problem. But simply because on the whim of some political party, and therefore they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt.
You see, the reason why I ask why we eschew this is because the same things have always happened, to the EC, regardless of, especially with a political party in opposition.
So
that's why I brought back the issue of Charlotte Osei and how the NPP berated Charlotte Osei in the run-up to the election because they thought that ABCD was happening. And now we are seeing the NDC do it with Jean Mensah. It is within that context that I ask, how do we eschew?
So the first thing is that's what I'm saying. You see, I try to respond by telling you that when somebody like Mr. Mahama makes a statement like that and does not provide you a basis.
He provided. He said justice and fairness. No, let me refer to you. Read the article in full.
I'm not interested in your interest.
You asked.
When you have listened to him and he does not give you a basis for that argument.
He said there should be justice and fairness.
There's nothing that a Ghanaian should be listening to in that statement. And therefore, let's not be swayed. When you do that, then the politician now begins to stop that funny thing. I'll tell you something that happened a few weeks ago. I was on Metro TV, and we started doing something along the same lines, hitting on the EC. I've forgotten what the particular issue was. It was about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. And I said, and I raised the matter that, look, the NPP attacked Charlotte Osei, not trusting that she will give us a fair verdict on the election. What happened in the end? She declared us winners. So was that not egg on our face? And therefore, is that not a lesson for everybody, not just the NPP? So if now Ghanaians as a collective, we don't notice that this is what happened. And so now when a political party, be it the NPP or whoever, makes a certain statement, we must take it with a pinch of salt.
Okay.
If we will not grow in that, then my answer to you is that then nothing will change. So it is not left to us, the political parties. It is left to the public to listen and hear.
All right, Michael, let me come back to you on this, for your final comments on this issue.
On the EC issue?
Yes.
He didn't have anything. It was a campaign thing for him.
I've already
he said everything he wanted to say.
Yes, I've already done justice to it.
Okay.
But
that's fine.
What I would want to say is, look, we are here because of the toxic nature of the duopoly. This person comes, the winner takes all, divisive politics. That's what brings these frustrations and all the contemptuous positions around some of these institutions that are supposed to, be independent in the performance of their mandate. And so really, we need to get rid of the duopoly, like we in the Alliance for the Revolutionary Change keep saying. We need to. I think we can't continue to be voting MPP NDC and expect the change we require as a people. And on that, we should be able to have that consensus. And now, thankfully, Alan is offering us a consensus around a national development plan. A plan that professes solution for, the prevailing disorder we find ourselves. Unemployment will be dealt with by a rapid industrial regime. Our high inflation rate will be dealt with by dealing with the food inflation that so feeds into inflation itself. All other indices of the macroeconomy are going to be dealt with. And so you realize these are the reliefs we seek. We Ghanaians don't really seek much. We just want a decent, conditions of life.
Right.
Unfortunately, they are not able to, deliver that, and they keep fighting over, who. I heard the general secretary or the chairman. I see here. It's like, they are now hunting the meat, and later when they win, they will share the game. I'm like, really? Ghana has become a meat. Are we serious? Oh, you are eating, or what about us who are not with MPP or NDC? And that is the problem. We who are not with them are the masses. And so this is a call on all of us Ghanaians to arise. Let's set aside the duopoly and unite around Alan's great transformational plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very well. Wanda, let me come to you finally.
The statement by the former president is clear that if you call for peace, you should also talk about fairness and justice. I mean, that message is clear. I want to use this platform to appeal to the Electoral Commission that political parties should be given the opportunity to observe the transfer of votes. The memo from the EC, which per the memo, it takes effect from this morning, that political parties will no longer be allowed to observe a key process of the electoral process. It's worrying. So it's an appeal to the EC that whatever the situation is with political parties, they should call political parties and resolve the issue so that people have confidence in going into December 7th. And let me also say that, look, President Mahama was right when he said that, look, the NDC will win this election for Ghana. For Ghana. Because even on this panel, my brother from Movement for Change agrees that this government has failed.
For support.
Yeah.
This government has failed.
And doesn't believe that the NDC should come into government either.
But he believes that this government has failed.
Yeah, but he doesn't believe that the NDC is the solution.
This government of which it was a part.
We were the only shining light in. You know it, Nana. You know it.
Please, Wanda, finish.
Yeah. So basically, the NDC, we are committed. We are focused. Of course, Movement for Change, they have their roots from the MPP. He is just saying that they used to be the shining light from the within the government. Yeah. So they could have their own internal wranglings and all of that. But we are focused. We are ready for victory and to serve the people of Ghana right. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. We'll have to wrap up here.
Media, you give me
30 seconds.
Nana,
But you have more time to speak than then. 30 seconds. That's why I'm giving you 30 seconds.
Every time, long time, it's becoming culture here.
No.
I shall mark it and react accordingly.
30 seconds.
My last statement is on this particular matter of rigging is Mr. Mahama failed in his comment to show that he's an experienced leader in this country. He has failed.
Okay.
He has failed. No basis.
All right, very well.
No
Thank you very much.
substance. No direction. And it is a show that the NDC has nothing
we
to
have to
offer
wrap
this
one
country.
up here. Nana Freddy Ajimaro Foriata from the NPP, Wanda Victor Kuto from the NDC. Thank you very much for joining us, and Michael Sarfo-Kantanka from the Movement for Change. Do stay tuned. This is the end of the breakfast review, but there's still more to come here on GH Today. We'll be right back.